The meaning of the movie. Author Orpheus for Reading for Minutes published 9.11. 2021 updated 12.12. 2022 After watching the movie, it is difficult to understand what the movie is about if the viewer is not familiar with the source material. The stated themes remain only stated, as many of them do not reach a logical conclusion, but the strong point of the new Dune will be and remains atmospheric. The imposing gigantism and unfamiliar territories are shown through the unhurried and deliberate dimensionality of each frame. This allows you to consider every detail of the new, unexplored world, to better immerse yourself in the atmosphere, to feel Dune. The music also contributes to the atmosphere. The events of Dune take place in the year 10191. Emperor Padishah Shaddam IV of the House of Carino holds power. The story centers on the conflict of three planets: Caladan, the home oceanic planet of the House of Atreides; Arrakis, or a desert planet where spice is mined; and Giedi Prime, or the planet of the Harkonnens, who have become richer than the Emperor because of the exploitation of Arrakis. Because of the spice in the deserts of Arrakis, there is a constant war over the resource. The story begins with House Atreides gaining control of it. The structure of society, despite the fact that the picture is science fiction and shows the distant future, is feudal. Power is passed on by inheritance. Aristocratic families are in an endless war for power and resources. In the world there are signs characteristic of the historically formed feudal society, but it also retains its own code of honor, remotely reminiscent of chivalry. This combination of technology and medieval elements, or like swords or orders, is due to the fact that this society was formed after the uprising of machines endowed with intelligence, and now the inhabitants of the planets are trying not to replace humans with artificial intelligence, leading to an alternative path of development, which is revealed in the movie. So, the House of Atreides gets Arrakis, and Duke Leto, or the head of the house, guesses that the Emperor has done so in order to divide the houses and get rid of one of them. Nevertheless, he accepts the offer anyway and moves to Arrakis. Its deserts are inhabited by the Freemen, the native blue-eyed inhabitants of the planet, who have their own political and religious systems and mentality. Before coming to the planet, Duke Leto sends an expedition with Duncan, one of Paul's, or the heir, close friends, to study the indigenous population and try to make peace with them, in the hope of working together to achieve freedom for the planet and at the same time to win the war that the Emperor was going to unleash. But everything on Arrakis is destroyed, machines break down, equipment is missing, giant worms live in Dune, destroying the surviving equipment. Duke Leto realizes that he will not be able to restore production in a short period of time, and does not have time. Too fast. There is an attack on the planet. Because of his betrayal, the Duke dies on the Harkonnen planet, having bitten into a poison pill. He consciously goes to his death, realizing that there is no other way out of this situation. One of the central themes of the movie, revealed best, is Paul's chosenness. Once on the planet, he began to see the future through dreams. This is later explained by the fact that Paul's mother is a member of the Order of the Bene Gesserit. The Sisters of the Order are able to control their voices, thus providing suggestion, and predict the future, and Jessica, Paul's mother, breaks the main rule, giving birth and teaching her son. Knowledge should only be passed on to daughters, but she is convinced that her son is the chosen one, and he himself soon begins to realize this. Paul has an unbreakable, invisible connection to the Arrakis desert. He has dreams involving the Freemen, and they lead him as well as the viewer into the depths of Dune. After attacking and wandering the desert, Paul and Jessica stumble upon representatives of the Freemen as they flee from the giant worms that inhabit the dunes. Stilgar agrees to take them in, but another Freeman disagrees with the leader's position. He denies being chosen and challenges Paul to a duel. Paul has already seen the outcome of this fight. He wins by killing himself and his identity during the duel. He becomes the very leader that the desert demands, the chosen Kwisatz Haderach spoken of in the prophecies. Paul wants to complete what his dead father started, to unite the armies and make Arrakis free. The question of power is played out in all directions, whether it is imperial or religious fanaticism, the question of power over one's destiny, control over history and the ability to create it. Unfortunately, the movie does not come to a logical conclusion of the narrative. It breaks off at the most unexpected place and leaves the viewer without answers to some questions. Dune is a vast universe with its own races, political systems and intrigues, and the movie does not reveal them to the fullest extent, making the setting leisurely and atmospheric. The world of Dune utilizes organic resources, a spice that is not only a life-extending drug but also fuel for ships. Dune is a leisurely movie, only revealing the first pages of the story, using a visual aesthetic and emotional element,